This video will build on top of the experiment we did, connecting a potentiometer with Arduino and seeing in the serial monitor the values coming from a variable. So if we look at those numbers, they range from 0 to 1023, and that is because they are analog values that they are being read by Arduino. So when I move the knob, the values change. And if we start paying attention to the code itself, we will notice that the value from analog read gets into a thing, a variable, called sensor value. So if I get that sensor value to change, for example, I will declare that sensor value is sensor value plus 1000. Then when I get to upload that code, I will stop reading the same 0 to 1023, but something different. The range now is going to be 1000 for the minimum and 2023 for the maximum. So this talks a little bit about how the internal memory of Arduino is processing, is storing, and then processing that value. So let's look at what else can we do with it. We can also have other kind of variables, like, for example, a variable that will not have numbers as we know them, but logic states. So let's say that we have a Boolean variable, that's the name we will use, and we assign false. This is actually not related with anything we're reading for the potentiometer. But if we upload such a code, it will be serial printing false. False for Arduino. Inside of its memory, if I press the serial monitor, I will see that it's a 0. And I think that most of you have heard about binary systems. If we upload a true and Arduino gets to plot that variable, it is a 1. So true and false are also variables, and the way that Arduino will handle them is with a 0 and a 1. So going back to our integer variable of sensor value, maybe we can relate it to this state, and we can ask Arduino to do something like, if the sensor value is bigger than something, then you get to put in state something true, otherwise, else we put the state in false, and we see what does that do. If I click on verify or compile, it will actually complain. I will say that it didn't understand because I'm not using the right syntax. I'm saying the right things, but not in the way that Arduino expects. So using the right curly brackets and defining this structure that is actually known as a conditional, and I get to see the results depending on the input of A0, the potentiometer I have connected to it. And if I pay attention to that serial.println, I'll notice that is the one that is putting on the serial monitor that variable. And the ln implies that it will add a new line on each instruction, but if I do serial print, it will print one thing next to the other. So as an example, let's go back to the serial print sensor value, and let's put something in between sensor value and state. For example, a message that is going to be a string, it's going to be another kind of variable. I'll just like write it in here, and I'll say what does that output in the serial monitor now. After compilation, we will see a long string coming from 3 instructions. One is plotting all the time the sensor value, the other one the string of is what Arduino is reading, and the state is, and the last thing is state, and it's a Boolean variable.